Hey, good evening. This is your host, Kimber Booth. I'm here for another Connector Dots session to talk to you on this Wednesday wisdom session on personal development topics. So just checking to see if making sure we're live, connecting with you probably on your way home, and wanted to chat with you about personal productivity. And whether or not, are you feeling organized these days? How are you keeping up with what seems like a never-ending to-do list and a lot of competing schedule priorities? And we'll talk a little bit about what tools you're using to stay organized. I'll share with you what I'm doing, and please share in the chat now or later when you're maybe watching this, even if you're watching this on recording, what tools you're using to stay organized. I know I mentioned the other day that I'm definitely feeling a little bit like the need to be a little more organized these days. I've definitely been doing more home organization during this time because of the pandemic. I guess the term that gets used is nesting. So I've been doing more organizing, more labeling of things. But when it comes to like my daily productivity and how do I stay organized with both me and my family, I wanted to chat with you about that. So we'll talk about how you can consolidate this information into one place so you feel more productive and you actually are more productive. I know recently I have had some mishaps with my productivity, and it's partially due to a lot of the screen sharing when you're presenting and sharing your screen sometimes on these different Zoom meetings, etc. I find that sometimes my typical practices of taking notes in OneNote, I may not do because I'm also sharing my screen. So I've had some ways around that. But then I found myself I have too close to me these sticky notes that I will pull out of the drawer and take notes on, and then sometimes I'll end up with a stack of notes at the end of the day. So that's definitely bad practice and not my typical way of doing things for sure. I do not like to write things on sticky notes. I really like to have a centralized, organized place. But again, I've gotten into some bad habits, again, partially because of Zoom and sharing of screens, but I think there are definitely other causes of it. So I want to get back on track myself and be organized, and I wanted to share that with you. So we'll talk about to-do lists, your calendar, and where you take your notes. Those three things. Not a lot today. There's definitely lots of personal productivity topics. I've definitely studied Franklin Covey's methods, and while I years ago used to use the actual Franklin Covey planner, I've definitely converted to using more Microsoft tools. So everything's electronic and coordinated, but I still practice some of those basic principles like quadrant 2 planning. And so some of those I'll probably share on future personal development topics. So the to-do list, having a centralized to-do list is really critical, I think. And while a to-do list itself is not great, the key is you want to capture all your ideas in one place. And so that's where a to-do list of some kind could be electronic, preferably, because it's a lot easier to move things around and then later add them to your calendar, which is what turns your to-do list into more productivity. The key is to capture things. You got to get it out of your head. That's where, sometimes at night or you wake up in the morning, you're staying up late at night thinking of things you have to do. You got to capture it in a central place. So I have definitely in the past, up until this last year or two, was using just the regular, app in my phone. But I also have used mostly the app that connects with my Outlook. So it's really the to-do list for Microsoft, and it was connected to that. I've recently upgraded to Microsoft Planner, which is just a little more of a robust to-do list. It has features like apps like Trello that you may be used to, where you can visualize things in cards, tag them, add categories. So I've really been enjoying using Microsoft Planner because it's still integrated with the Outlook features and other Microsoft things I use. Definitely for folks who are mostly using Google and other similar programs. I'm sure you have a to-do list. It's definitely good if you can have one that connects and syncs with your, like your computer, but also to your phone, because we almost always have our phones with us, right? I think we would be lost without them. So we have that. I even have it on my watch now. My to-do list is on my watch. So we have it, and it's easy to jot things down. So have a centralized to-do list. Again, I'm using Microsoft Planner for my to-do list for my work, my business, and my personal stuff. That said, I do have a shared to-do list within our iPhones with my husband. So we use just the to-do list. It's a shared to-do list for what we have to do around the house. And one might call it a honey-do list, but it's really a shared list. So there's things on there that my husband's supposed to do. There's things that we're supposed to do together. And then there's things that I'm going to do. So we recently reupholstered our kitchen, the chairs around our kitchen island. So that was on our shared to-do list. It was actually under my name, but because we got to use a power tool with a power stapler, my husband wanted to help. So that was great. It worked out well. And then I was able to check it off of our list. So that is one way that I have a shared to-do list, and we try to add things there that we think of. So we're not always forgetting, we have to, purchase something, or we have to fix something in the house, or, we want to buy new curtains eventually, for a certain room. We'll put it on that list so we can refer to it and plan. When it comes to the calendar, definitely a big fan of Outlook. And, I do find that probably a lot of you are listening, because you may work in a corporation, the corporation you're in, most corporations are using Microsoft products, but many times for personal reasons outside of work, some people tend to use maybe the Gmail calendars that are more integrated with Google and things like that. So you may have a mixture. The key that you can do, is I have like an iCloud calendar, with my Apple, and I actually have that created as a family calendar. So because of our family is set up on the Apple, we can have a shared calendar. We have one that's focused on the kids. That one's color-coded yellow, and then we have like our family home life that's color-coded green. So anything that we the other person needs to be aware of, doctor's appointments, somebody's coming to fix something at the house, things like that, we would add to those shared calendars. And because Outlook is still my main calendar for my business and other personal aspects for me, I have my iPhone, basically, or my cloud Apple calendars sync into my Outlook. So when I go to my actual Outlook app or to my Outlook on my computer, I have all my calendars there, and I can actually see them together, and they're each color coded. So I can see, the family calendar, the kids calendar, my personal calendar, and my business calendar all in one place. So that's been very beneficial. Years ago, I think my husband and I, the way we handled it was we invite each other to meetings, and that does take a lot of like accepting of meetings so that it would like show up on our calendars. And then it was kind of hard to sort and just see what was going on for like the kids or something. So I really liked having these shared calendars where we can separate out the activities, but yet still sync it and see it all in one place. So that's been helpful. And then the last topic that I mentioned is notes. And you may be somebody who likes to have personal written journals with your planners that will include both your schedule, your priorities, as well as notes for the day. I'm not into that as much. There's definitely a thing. I do like writing. I think there are some benefits to writing, but I find that I really enjoy electronic better just because of the other enhancements that it offers. It just allows for searching capabilities so that I can go back and find something later. I can move things around, maybe sort it in a different place. Whereas if I was taking notes in a journal, Then you have to have multiple versions of that journal. Plus, the benefit of the electronic is, again, almost always have my phone with me. So I have my OneNote app that syncs up to my computer, which allows me to keep things organized. And so while I definitely use OneNote, I've used it to share with some of my clients when we've needed to collaborate on some work. I also have a shared OneNote with my husband. So family things are in a shared OneNote where we have the section on, the home, the family, the kids. There's definitely a whole section right now on virtual school. So all of the codes that we need, all of the information, contact information for the teachers, what their schedules are, all of that is in one place in our shared OneNote. So I definitely find that OneNote has helped me. And there's, again, other versions. Evernote is definitely another kind of non-Microsoft note-taking software that's out there. But there's a lot of features, because you can automatically turn things into to-do items. You can color code things. And again, you can definitely sort it later. Maybe you need to organize things in a different way. So those are the tips that I wanted to cover. So hopefully you will take advantage of some of these, or again, maybe you can teach me something. So I do encourage you to leave a note here, send me a message, let me know what you're doing to feel organized. And I want to invite you to join me for future Connector Dots sessions. Tomorrow on Thursdays is Leadership Thursday. I'm going to be covering professional development topic of discovering your strengths, or the Strengths Finder. This is an important part of your self-assessment for your professional development plan. So please go to kimberbooth.com/connect to join my email list so that I can provide you access to these recordings where they'll be compiled in a portal for my community for easy access. So thanks so much for joining me tonight. I hope you are doing well. Be bold and advocate for advancing practice. Have a great night.